Hello there, drone fans. This is Scott Stauffer here, and today we're going to review the Yuneec Typhoon H Plus. Now we're going to break this down into basically two sections. The first part is I'm going to do basically a miniature unboxing showing you what you get with this, and then the second part we're going to compare it to its closest competitor, is the DJI Phantom 4 Pro version 2.0. They're basically both came out about the same time, and they're comparably priced and all that. So it's a head-to-head comparison directly to that. So let's start off. What do you get? Well, first off, you're going to start by getting this nice backpack. It's molded so that everything fits into it really nicely. Your drone fits in there, batteries and all that stuff. It also has a nice pocket at the top there to put your accessories and things in. It also comes with, obviously, the battery charger. It has an adapter so that you can use this in your car. It has spare propellers. Of course, you get the unit here. It comes with two batteries. The antennas that it uses two of these 2.4 gigahertz antennas. The original H version of this only had one. It also has the 5.8 gigahertz antenna for your telemetry and things like that there. Now, what it adds to it over its predecessor, which was the H model, which came out a year and a half ago or so at this time, the H Plus has slightly longer booms on it, slightly larger propellers, and slightly different ECUs that it slows it down. It makes it quieter. Very similar to the version 2.0 of the Phantom 4. It's quieter. It also extends the battery life of it. It comes with the Intel RealSense sensor system in it. It also comes with some spare shock absorbers for the gimbal and things like that there. So overall, it's a fairly nice package. It also has this is the controller. This is the ST16 controller. It's very similar to the predecessor, the original H. It does have the Android operating system in it. It's different in that a lot of the telemetry information on the H was down on the left-hand side of the screen. Now it's more across the top, very similar to the DJI. It also gives you a little bit more information as far as the old system used to give you a voltage reading. This one here gives you a percentage of time left on the battery. So, and they also give you a lanyard here for around your neck to hold the transmitter, because it is a substantially large transmitter. It's a little heavy, but it does work very well. Now, I've added a few extra features to this. I bought two extra batteries, so I have a total of 4 batteries. Now, to charge that up, Yuneec sells this DY5 dual charger where you can put 2 chargers in it and charge the transmitter all at the same time very quickly. Very handy. It's worth the extra $140 or so for this. Very handy. I also bought this range extending antenna right here, this system here. This is the Raptor SR from 4Hawks. So I put that on there because the range of this thing here is, they rate it at just over a mile. So with this range extender, they're saying you can go much further than that. I wouldn't want to test that theory, obviously. The price of this here, as it stands right now, when it first came out, is $1,899. Okay, that's a fair amount of money. So now let's see how this compares to the Phantom 4. Now, just like its predecessor, the H model, this has retractable landing gear in it. There's very few drones on the market that actually have retractable landing gear. Obviously, the Inspire does, and a few other drones. Its predecessor, the H, had it. Certainly, the H520 and the 920 series and Yuneec have the retractable gear as well. Now, what does the retractable gear get you other than that's really cool? Well, the gimbal on this thing not only tilts up and down, but it has the ability to rotate 360 degrees in any direction. So now, with the gear up, you can rotate and keep an eye on something that you want to film without having to change your heading on the copter as you're flying. So now you can fly straight along and rotate the antenna sideways and get your shot that way, or turn it around and be flying forward with the camera backwards and get backward shots that way. With the other ones, you have to turn the machine around and physically fly backwards. Now, this only has sensing downward and forward, whereas the other ones have more sensors than that. So you can negate a lot of the shortcomings of the side-to-side and rear sensors not being there by just flying forward and turning the camera in the direction you want it to be. So that's really cool. So what are we comparing it to? We are comparing it to the DJI Phantom 4. This particular one here is the version 2.0. and it is from the Falcon edition. This is from Drone World. It is the Plus version, meaning that it has the built-in monitor. Now, I felt that this was a fair test because this one has a built-in monitor, so is this one. This one here has extended range antenna. This one here has extended range antennas. They both come with regular stick antennas, stock, except I've replaced both of them with this. Again, this is Drone World's Falcon range extension antennas. So that adds to the range of it as well. Now, what's the difference as far as range goes? Well, Yuneec says that theirs has a range of just over a mile and a quarter, something like that. The DJI Phantoms, it goes over 4 miles, almost 5 miles with this antenna system on it. So that's a plus. But however, you can't really fly that far out anyways because you're supposed to keep it in line of sight here in the United States. So I'd say even a young person with really good eyes would probably have a hard time seeing these things at a mile out. So a lot of countries limit the range to 1 mile. So Yuneec just made it a little over 1 mile to begin with. That way it's compatible with most countries. So what else do you do? All right. Well, the base price of the Plus model of the Phantom 4 is $17.99. So it's $100 more. However, with that, you only get a foam case and 1 battery. You do not get the charger system to plug it in your car. That's an extra $29 or so. It comes with the Yuneec. It does not also come with the backpack. So if you add the backpack up and the extra battery, well, then it's actually a little cheaper for the H Plus, because one DJI battery here costs $170, and then throw in another $100 or so for the backpack. Well, then it's actually a little more expensive in that regard. Now, mind you, this version here is the Falcon edition from Drone World, and it is a lot more expensive than that, because there's a lot of extra equipment that's on board, mainly the additional antennas and things like that there, and some of the other cases and stuff that it came with it. But the base unit of each unit is about $100 or so difference. Also, the cameras, they're very similar to each other. The C23 camera that's on the H Plus is a 91-degree field of view, 23mm lens, and it's a fixed aperture at 2.8. The Phantom 4 one has an 84-degree field of view. It is 24mm lens. It is a variable aperture going from 2.8 to 11. Both of them run at 100 megabits a second. They both take 20 megapixel stills. They both can record in H.264 or H.265 format, and at 60 frames a second. So the lens in this one here has a little bit wider angle than the Phantom 4. The C23 lens has an electronic shutter, whereas the shutter in the Phantom is a mechanical. And that cuts way down on the rolling shutter effect, where things have a little bit of a jelly effect. You can also compensate for that by using lower apertures and ND filters. So I want to give you a sample of this. I shot some video where I flew both drones roughly in the same direction, and I filmed them there. They both have the same aperture. They're running at 100 ISO, 2.8 aperture, ND16 filters, 30 frames a second, and at H.264. So you can look at this, you can see both of them, they're pretty daggone close in comparison. The only thing I noticed is, like I said, the horizon is slightly curved a little more with the H Plus than the Phantom 4. That's the difference between 91 degrees and 84 degrees. Also, the Phantom 4 has collision sensors all the way around, 360 degrees, front, center, back. So if you're backing up, it'll sense that. The flight times, they're similar. You can get 25 to 30 minutes with the H Plus. You can get 25, 30 minutes or so with the Phantom 4. Real world, yeah, subtract about 5 minutes off of that or more. I haven't pushed it that far yet, but that's about what you're going to get. Also, when it comes to flying this thing here has a really wide arc to it, so that if you rail into it, it rotates like 35 degrees forward. And the first time I flew this thing, it scared the heck out of me. because I wasn't used to seeing a rotation like that and a pendulum effect with the camera down there. So you roll into it, it rolls forward, and then you hump back, you roll back on it, and side to side. It has a lot of shift to it. The Phantom 4 does do that to a point, but not as much. Now maybe because the proc art is not as big on this one, you don't notice it as much, but it's there, but not as bad. The H Plus also has like an overshoot. When you are flying forward and you let off the stick, it'll roll on about 20 or so feet or more till it actually finally stops, whereas the Phantom 4 will slow down much faster and stop. So it has a larger overshoot than the other one. The software in them. Well, the software, they're similar but not the same, obviously. There are a lot of autonomous functions that the H Plus has, like curved cable cam. That's similar to Litchi, where you plug in points of interest and altitudes and camera angles where you flies for you. You also have point of interest, follow me, watch me, orbit me, and journey mode. Those are similar to it. DJI has basically those features as well. In addition, they have a lot of other features in there that they can do too. They both have a cinematic mode, or this one has like a tripod mode in it as well. So those are some of that. But the software is a lot more advanced than the DJI Phantom 4. It uses the Go app on there, and it gives you a lot more telemetry in this. The batteries that come with the H Plus, we refer to those as dumb batteries. They don't have any button on them to give you any kind of indication of what the charge is or anything on them. Whereas the batteries that are in the Phantom, you can push the button on the side and it gives you LED readouts of what's left in the battery. It also sends real world data back to the transmitter as you're flying, and it tells you not only percentage wise what you have left in the battery, but it'll give you so many minutes that you have left to fly. It also has a feature in it with a slider at the top where it gives you your home reading, and as your battery is depleting, it's coming closer to the home. If those two meet each other, it's telling you that however far out you are, you have just enough power to get back. If you go past that, you will not have enough power to get back. It also has a function in it that it will warn you, and if you ignore it, it will turn around and fly back so that it saves it. All right, the Typhoon H Plus does not have that feature in it. You have to keep an eye on the battery, and if you go past that, you're coming down. You're not going to quite make it. They both have return home functions, where if you get in trouble, you can flick a switch and it'll fly back. I'd say the return to home function accuracy of where it lands is a little better on the Phantom. It will land within maybe 1 foot of you or so. Not quite so much with the H Plus. It will give him maybe 10 feet of you or so, a little more. It's not quite as accurate. So, and I had a cause to test that feature. The other thing you also notice with this here is when you get into this thing, you're hit it to go forward real fast. Because it's an octocopter, these booms will actually get down and you'll see them touch into the top of the screen with the blades a bit. So you can avoid that a little bit by just tilting the camera down a little bit. You also can eliminate some of the buzz from the rotors by changing the ND filters and things. The Phantom 4 will do that to an extent where you won't see the actual booms in there, but you'll see the rotors in there a bit. Again, ND filters will blur that down so you don't see it that much. Again, also tilting the camera down will eliminate that as well. So, that's annoying. I've seen that already, and I can show you that. But the other thing that this thing does here that the others don't, because it's a hexacopter, you can lose one engine or prop off this thing and still bring it down safely. Can't do that with the Phantom. You lose a prop on this, you're eating it. So basically, it's a really nice setup. Both of these are very good camera systems. And it's choosing your battles, basically. What kind of job are you shooting is what drone you have. That's why I have both of them. They each have their purposes. This can do things that this can't. This can do things that that can't. So I choose which one I want. In general, the overall, yes, the higher end machine would be the Phantom 4, followed closely by the H Plus. Again, this does a lot of this does. This just has a whole lot more features, aka the smart batteries and a lot of the telemetry that's built into this. Now, of course, you're comparing DJI as a multi-billion-dollar company, and Yuneec is not. They're much smaller. DJI commands something like 75% of the market. The rest is divided up amongst other companies like Yuneec and Altel and Parrot and some of these other ones. US Robotics, there's a whole bunch of them out there. So they're two good competitors to each other. They're both very good quality. I like both of them a lot. And I'll leave it up to your conclusions of which one to get. But they're both a good value. Either one would be a good choice to have. Now, if you like this video, please hit thumbs up. And if you want to see more, get a subscription going there. And check out some of my other videos on drones and airplanes and things like that there on my channel as well. Until then, safe droning, guys.